you just allow that moment to blow through you like a breeze, your cells will remember what it felt like and then go back to the thing you were trying to accomplish. And from that place, your cells remember, because our cells are addicted to whatever the emotion was. If you're addicted to stress, your body's pulling you back like a magnet to that.
Welcome back to another episode of the Peak Performance Life podcast. Today, I'm very excited to be speaking about a topic that I think is extremely, extremely powerful. And we have someone who's an absolute expert in this field. We have Christina Woods, and Christina's a licensed RTT therapist, clinical hypnotherapist, advanced theta healer, empowerment coach, Reiki master, and the CEO and founder of Wise Woods. She combines her background in corporate leadership along with her life experiences in dealing with trauma and abandonment to empower other women and men to trust their intuition and set themselves free of self-doubt. She has been honing her intuition and spiritual and energy practice throughout her entire life, and it is this experience, knowledge, and wisdom that she brings to every client. Through deep hypnotherapy and coaching work, she empowers women and men to shed old programming so they can live the life they deserve. Christina wants everyone to stop looking outside for what they need and instead look inside themselves so they can live a full life of deep meaning and potential. Christina, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Great. Well, yeah, I'm excited to dive deep into these topics because as I kind of mentioned to you before we started recording, we've done a lot of episodes about health and nutrition and fitness and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I feel like there's only so many ways you can tell someone to eat healthy and exercise and stuff like that. And the more important thing is, and this is a question I've literally been fascinated with recently, and have been looking for research papers and haven't been able to find very many on the topic of like, if people know what to do, all right, the information is pretty clearly out there. Why aren't they doing it, right? What is it mentally that's causing them to not take the actions that they know they should be taking in any area of life? Really,
yeah. And it actually makes a lot of us feel lazy or we're doing something wrong or, exactly because it's right there, right? It's actually why so many diets fail, because we have sort of a blueprint of what we should be eating, when we should be eating, not be eating. So why is it so difficult? And the reason, we've heard of this subconscious mind and our conscious mind. And if we think of it like an iceberg, our conscious mind is that little tiny part that is sticking out of the water, the 5%. And that is our critical thinking, our mind that is logical, that we actually think is calling the shots, the one that we reason and we're analytical, and we think and say, well, yes, I know I shouldn't eat cookies at night, or I should fast. I should do these things. I read about this. It's only 5% running the show, and 95% is under the water. And it's our feeling mind. So it's the one where we think, those are just feelings. I'll just shove those underneath, or, we don't want to talk about those. But it's running the show. It's 1 million times more powerful than our conscious mind. So we never ever, logic will never trump the subconscious mind. So when we feel lazy or we didn't stick to something, we really need to find out what is in our subconscious. What are those feelings, and what's the belief behind it? Because that's the one driving the bus, driving the train, whatever you want to say. That's the one calling the shots, and it's always going to win. And yet we think we're going to logically, make sense of it all up here because we read the book, we listened to whatever. We really need to find out, all right, well, what's creating the self-sabotage? What's the dialogue we really need to be having with our mind?
Yeah. That's, so it's so powerful. I feel like so many people just go through life not even realizing that they have what's the proper terminology? Subconscious or unconscious mind? What do we call it? Sub, I guess.
Yeah, it's sub, but yeah, and sometimes, for the most part, we're not even conscious of it. So we can get into the semantics of subconscious and unconscious. Yeah, definitely. But it's so often we're not aware, and that part we really get frustrated at, because So many clients will say to me things like, well, I know better. I don't know why. I actually just got off a call with a very successful CEO who's, banging his head against a wall about something. And it's like, let's slow down a second. These are things you're not aware of. So if you're not aware of, we need to go in your subconscious and find out what is the belief system that's driving that action. Because the belief, first of all, it's not necessarily true. The mind doesn't care if the belief is right or wrong, good or bad, true or false, could absolutely care less. And also, your subconscious mind does not know how old you are. So these beliefs typically start between the ages of 0 and 8 years old. And we grow up, we get a family of our own, we move on, and we're supposed to know better, but our subconscious doesn't know how old we are and still has a belief that kept us safe, or kept us believing something that made a lot of sense at a certain time in our life.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing that I became I think I mentioned to you, I got certified in NLP and hypnosis back in 2007, very long time ago. Never really practiced the hypnosis side of things, but I've seen how powerful it is. And some people may have seen, even just a stage hypnotist, right? It's just incredible
Sure.
what they're able to get people to do. I mean, it's just fascinating. It still blows my mind. A lot of people don't even think it's real. But I think it is. It's really incredible. And so yeah, when I learned NLP, neuro linguistic programming and hypnosis, it started to make me a lot more aware of other people. Like when other people speak, I can hear their limiting beliefs or empowering beliefs, or just their belief systems, right? By the words that they're using, the language that they're using. And I've become so much more, and again, it's the hardest on yourself, right? To realize
Sure.
it on yourself. It's easier to realize it on other people. But I think trying to analyze your kind of your language, or being aware, or at least of other, what other people's beliefs are. It's a really powerful practice as well.
It is. It is. And one of the practices that I'll use with clients is, all right, how do we dialogue with our mind when we're trying to figure out what are these subconscious beliefs? Obviously, hypnosis is a way to go in and knock on the door and quiet our conscious mind, quiet the analytical mind that thinks it knows everything, because that's what our conscious mind we need. We need our critical thinking mind, of course, but the power is in our subconscious. What are the beliefs that keep us safe? Because our mind only cares about keeping us alive. And so, if creating anxiety or creating a self sabotaging belief is going to, in its mind, keep us safe or keep us away from harm, that's what it's going to do. So, if not being, handsome or beautiful, and going out there and being strong and vivacious in your career and being more seen, if it believes, uh-oh, that might get a lot of rejection. And if you're rejected, you might not feel good enough. And remember, at this other point in your life, that actually was not something that felt safe for you. Well, then no, it's not going to let you keep going to the gym to feel stronger and safe, or eat healthy. And that sounds silly, but it's not silly when that was your mind's safety mechanism. So there's different modalities, and hypnosis is certainly a very quick one. The method of hypnotherapy I use is rapid transformational therapy. So it's very quick. And
Mm.
the idea is you don't need to talk about it every Friday at 3 o'clock on a couch forever and ever. You actually can get to the root very quickly. It's like gardening. We don't just chop off the top and think it's not going to grow back. We got to get to the root and find out what's the root cause of that behavior belief. And that's what we do. But one of the techniques I'll ask with clients is, all right, why would you be opposed to eating healthy, creating a healthy behavior in your life? Why would you be opposed to that? And our critical mind at first will say, well, I'm not opposed to that. I'm very excited about it. But when we get into a place where we're really trying to break through and really be honest and be in the moment, things will come up. Why am I opposed to that? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to get judged. I'm afraid I'm going to look stupid. I'm afraid I don't know how to do it right. I'm afraid, and all these opposing issues will come up, and we'll hear another voice. And that's when we can start to dig at the beliefs that are truly blocking us. And it's
Mm.
easier when we take our guard down and we do these things in hypnosis or NLP or some of the other modalities that are out there to help us dig, because there's a lot of opposition in our
Yeah.
subconscious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm also glad that you mentioned that part about it's not about sitting on a couch and reliving the past for years and years and doing that, because that's kind of like because again, a lot of people when they think of therapy, they it's like a one of those shows or movies about a therapist who's just like sitting there waiting for looking at the clock, where when is this going to be over, just let this person talk while I just sit here pretending to listen,
Exactly.
you know and also, I don't know, me personally, I mean, this just could be me. I'm sure many people, to each his own, and I'm sure many people have gotten a lot of value out of that type of therapy as well. So I'm definitely
Sure,
not
of
trying to knock
course.
everything. Yeah, but for me, it's like I've always found a lot more value in not just rehashing the past over and over, especially some traumatizing thing, but rather again identifying it and then saying, okay, what can we do here to change going forward, right? To create real
Yes.
lasting change.
Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly what how I help people make changes in their life is we first need to find out what is the belief. It doesn't mean, I mean, the belief isn't true, but it's the belief. So for that reason we must respect what is the belief. And for that reason our logical mind can't say, well, that's silly. I'm not 5 anymore. Of course I'm fine. Of course I'm fine. We need to get past that part because the belief is driving and dictating your behavior and dictating the opposition, creating the sabotage, creating the cells in our body to get more tired, not want to wake up in the morning, creating the anxiety, the adrenaline, the everything that makes us not want to stay healthy or do the things that we know we need to do, creating fatigue. I mean, it really, our mind and body are so connected. I can't tell you how many times clients will come to me for, I want to make more money, and we're dealing with health issues at the end of the day. Or I
Mm-hmm.
want to find the love of my life, and we end up dealing with a physical issue. Or how many clients have come to me, my doctor can't help me with my irritable bowel syndrome, and it through hypnosis and maybe Reiki, they don't have it anymore. I'm not a doctor, but
Mm.
because of the beliefs that we clear, they're able to tune in and create a lifestyle that's healthy, and they're listening and and create a pathway now to eliminate these limiting beliefs. But once you get to the root, you can interrupt those thoughts because they aren't the truth. But you first have to see them and honor and understand them, why they were there, with compassion. And we sort of live in a world where it's like, just, move on, move on. That was then, this is now. I just want to be healthy. I just want to look good. I just want to make the money. Well, we need to pause for a moment because the belief is never going away until we interrupt it and we rewire, and we do have neuroplasticity. And that is an amazing thing. We can rewire a belief and create a new one. We have to find out what's there first. Rewire, interrupt it, rewire, create a new one. You can upgrade. It's like software. Why do we think it's okay to upgrade our phones but not our belief system?
Mm.
We have to
Yeah.
upgrade these things, upgrade them. And then doing what you want in your life, you don't have to have so much resistance. It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, and I actually just finished listening to the audiobook called "The Biology of Belief"
Mm,
by Dr. Bruce
it's
Lipton.
my favorite.
Oh, yes, nice. Yeah, it's such a great book. And again, I mean, and also I've studied over the years. I actually have a Google Doc where I keep saving all these studies about the placebo effect, right? I mean, when
Yes,
you look at the power of your belief system, literally people who think they got a surgery, but no surgery was done, and they come through it and, have, are healed after because in their mind, they believe that they got the surgery done. I mean, it's just
absolutely.
unbelievable. It almost sounds too woo woo for most people to even wrap their head around.
Right. Yet to this day, to have a medication or pharmaceuticals approved, there's always a placebo test. Why?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
the placebo is within. We're that powerful, and And if we just slow down a little bit, we don't need to always look outside. We have so many answers within. And I've heard you on your podcast talk about that, and your own journey. And part of the reason I do hypnosis is actually because of a health issue that I had, and
Mm,
there were no doctors that could help me. They wouldn't really even listen to me. Probably went to 25 neurologists, on and on and on, shoved a lot of pills in my face and said, this is your destiny. And it wasn't until I listened to a hypnosis audio that I got relief. And I wasn't, instantly going to become a hypnotherapist at that point, but I thought, well, isn't this interesting? What is this about? Why
mm-hmm.
is this giving me so much relief? And I knew I wanted to change my life. And, one thing led to another, and here I am. But it, I remember going back to a doctor at that point and saying, hey, this thing really helped me. And he pretty much just sort of poo pooed the idea. And I thought, well, don't you want me to have relief? Don't you want me to, can't we do this thing together? I mean, maybe I need a little medication and this little, but maybe I could start to wean off because this other
Mm-hmm.
thing is helping me. It just really opened my eyes that the powers within me, and to
Yeah.
each his own.
Yes, yes, that is great. I absolutely love that, and I do want to talk about rewiring, right? So we talked about, I guess first maybe how can someone figure out what their limiting belief is, the beliefs that are holding them back. How can they do that? And obviously, I mean, the best way would be to work directly with someone like you who will ask the right questions. And but maybe just for the casual listener who's listening
Sure.
right now and maybe wants to realize, why I don't even know what my limiting beliefs are. How could they
Yeah.
maybe get some insight?
I think we start looking at our patterns in our life and, start getting really curious and honest about, gosh, every time, whatever it is in our life that maybe isn't working, or that we want to see change in our life, or an area that we want to expand or grow. And when we see patterns and we see, gosh, I always do this, or this always happens, and maybe we're pointing the finger at all these other things in our life, I think that's a great place to start. I know in my own life, I can remember I was always I had a 30-year corporate career before I did this. And I remember always getting promotions and bonuses, and yet my bank account wasn't really changing. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Why does the money keep falling right through? What's going on? What's the pattern? Well, the pattern was I actually was raised with a single mother, paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. And my belief system was that, well, if you don't spend it, you're not going to have any more. That was a belief I had that grounded in safety, survival. So no matter what I made, I could get another bonus, climb up the corporate ladder. It didn't matter. My belief system was driving my behavior. So getting curious about our patterns and behaviors, and remembering that the mind learns by repetition. So what are you saying to yourself? What are the images and pictures you're saying to your mind? And really paying attention, because when you start saying to yourself, this job is killing me, this this is horrible for me to do this, those things have such a powerful impact on your body, not to mention your cells and your organs and everything, but just your level of motivation and inspiration, and how you walk around and feel about yourself. So just simply the words you say to yourself, if all you did was change those things and pay attention, you would be flabbergasted at what you say, just tweaking those things. And I'm sure you've found that with your work and in your endeavors.
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned this in our podcast previously, but when I first really got into kind of NLP and personal development and belief systems work, I wore a rubber band, and every time I would catch myself saying something negative about myself, I would snap myself with the rubber band and then force myself to turn it around and reframe it into an empowering belief. And that was extremely powerful. Another thing I just
Yes.
remembered that I did was I used to listen to positive affirmation, like hypnosis CDs at night, when I went to sleep. And it's funny because when I just read Biology of Belief, or actually I think it was on a podcast I heard him on, someone asked him, so how do we, what are some of the things we can do to rewire our brains or belief or something? And he said, well, record an audio of,
Yes.
your positive affirmations and what you want, and then just listen to it every night, while you're sleeping. It goes into your unconscious, subconscious mind.
Yeah, recording yourself is very powerful. I make audio recordings for people, but if I write the script and they record it in their own voice, that's even more powerful. So the
Mm,
mind learns by repetition. So being able to say something over and over and over. But even more powerful than affirmations is really, kind of finding out and getting curious about the root of why it's there in the first place. And you don't, yes, it's great if you can go to a hypnotherapist to help guide you and those things, but getting honest, like why, asking yourself, why am I attached to this fear? You know, why am I attached to this opposition of not expressing my feelings, or not saving money, or not eating healthy, or not going out and not having a morning routine where I get to actually just be quiet? Why am I so opposed to that? Why do I resist it so much? Why do I
mm,
resist 10 minutes every night reading or journaling or just getting a little bit of quiet or putting on my blue light glasses? I've heard it helps. Why am I resisting that? And look, you don't need to tell anyone, just be honest. But our
mm.
mind does learn by repetition. And the other thing that really can be profound is creating a boundary, and the energetics of boundaries, understanding that boundaries are, what are you available for and what are you not available for? So, we think of boundaries as this big wall of, no, I won't eat that, or no, I won't do that. I have to say no to give myself time. But having a boundary that puts yourself first, allows you to put yourself first, and just simply telling yourself, what am I available for? What do I want to be available for? What do I not want to? I don't want to be available for that type of thing in my life anymore. I want to be more available for that. And just that simple question, you'll allow different things in, and you'll sort of have a boundary for, I don't want those types of things in my life anymore, or I don't want to be available for those things that suck me, of whether it be, my energy or giving of my energy.
Yeah, I mean, creating a clear picture for your subconscious mind, I think, is just so powerful. I mean, it's like many of us have probably heard, for a single person, will write down, the ideal person that you want to be with, and then,
Yes.
most people magically start finding, these types of people once they create a clear picture, for their mind about who they're looking for. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, scripting is really great. And some people do better with like scripting a feeling that they want to
Hmm.
experience. I mean, in hypnotherapy, we're always reminding people we get more of what we feel. So, what are you
Hmm.
feeling and what do you want to feel? And allowing yourself, even this simple exercise is, if you want to feel more approval or safety or in control. So many of us feel out of control and overwhelmed, so we start be trying to be a perfectionist, or, whatever it is that we do to feel more in control or more approved of. But closing your eyes and saying, when in the last 24 hours have I felt approval or safety or control? And this goes back to the biology of belief. Our cells have a carbon memory of our emotions. And if you can close your eyes and think of a moment in the last day, a week, that you felt approved of or in control or safe. It might have been petting your dog, having a cup of, tea outside, taking a walk, looking at a tree, whatever. It doesn't have to be profound. And you just allow that moment to blow through you like a breeze. Your cells will remember what it felt like, and then go back to the thing you were trying to accomplish. And from that place, your cells remember, because our cells are addicted to whatever the emotion was. If you're addicted to stress, your body's pulling you back like a magnet to that. So the more often you can make your cells go back to a moment you did feel calm and in control. And, hey, it was when I looked at a picture of my granddaughter or my friend and we were, smiling on vacation. Do that. The more you feel it, the more you'll get it. And we have to practice that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I want to get into why does how does hypnotherapy work, right? Because I've seen such powerful results, and I think many people may have heard. I think hypnosis is one of, if not the number one way that people stop smoking.
Yeah.
Right, an extremely addictive habit that people try very, very hard for many years to break, and then I talked to a few people who quit, and they're like, oh, "Yeah, I had a couple sessions with this hypnotherapist, and then I stopped smoking." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What? Like, it's incredible." So how does this work?
Yeah, yeah. How it works is that there's a place in our consciousness where we're very open to suggestions.
Mm,
And in this country, we don't like to hear that because it sounds like we're gullible or, you know, but if you imagine, then you get to give yourself really good suggestions. So this is a really, this is a great thing to know. So when we quiet our critical analytical mind and we go into that place, so we get into an alpha or theta brainwave and we quiet the conscious mind and we find out what are the blocks that are blocking us. We got to find out why you started smoking in the first place. Why do you drink
mm,
too much? I have a lot of clients that, will come to me for this because there was a reason. We don't just pick up a cigarette for no reason. Maybe it was to help us feel connected with people, to not feel different, to feel accepted. We need to find out the reason, and that's not too hard. So once we find out that reason, and then every habit of action is followed by a habit of belief. So you just got to get the belief and then kind of do a reversal. And so what we do is we allow ourselves to go in and go into this place where you're really open to suggestions, and then give your mind a better suggestion over and over and over, and create a new little river, a new little neuro pathway where that becomes the dominant belief. And again, the mind learns by repetition, but it also wants to go back to what is familiar. So, a rule of the mind is that it will go back to what is familiar and safe, and it will avoid what is unfamiliar or avoid what is associated with pain. But you really need to be careful, what does it associate with pleasure and what does it associate with pain. So if smoking is pleasure, yeah, that I'm connected, this is pleasure, this makes me feel like I'm busy and I'm not nervous. Well, it's going to keep doing that until we give it something else to connect to. So it's upgrading and replacing the belief. So, but we're doing it when you're very open to suggestions in those alpha and theta brainwaves. Children between 0 and 7 are in that dominant brainwave. That's why they can learn languages so quickly, and they walk and talk and they learn so much so quickly. And why it's harder for us to learn a language when we're 35 or older, because that vault has closed in those brain waves. We have to use a technique like hypnosis to get into those brain waves, but we can.
yeah, yes, yeah. So you're basically you're trained to basically go through a process where you're getting people into this like ultra relaxed, open state, right? Kind of like the visual of it I have is kind of like opening up the subconscious mind so that it's now open, and then you can kind of maybe plant some new seeds, some new ideas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's let's get you very nice and relaxed and open up those theta, alpha and theta brain waves, and find out, hey, why is it associated, what's the pleasure associated with this behavior you don't want? It's clearly only associating pleasure or something that it believes is keeping you safe. Let's find out what that is and replace it with the truth, and do it over and over and over by repetition, by giving you an audio recording to listen to that's customized for you, and make that new belief familiar until your mind says, all right, I'm starting to believe you, and your cells come on board, and we create a new pathway, and it starts to say, all right, this old thing that I thought was pleasure actually isn't. This new thing is pleasure, and you're open to these suggestions. And it's at least 21 days, and this is quick. Some people actually get instant change, but for the most part, it could be 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But our mind, it we form a blueprint, and then the strongest force in all of us is that our mind has to follow that blueprint, and then our mind is looking for evidence out in the world to back up the blueprint. So once we form that blueprint, you're going to start to find evidence out there in the world with the people you meet with at work. Your actions will start to support your belief system, which reinforces the action, which there you go, you get to live the life you want.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I really like that. What are some of the so we talked about smoking, we talked about alcohol, right? These are common things that people come to you for. What else have you been able to what other kind of examples of people that come to you with a certain issue that you're able to help them with using hypnosis?
Well, there's a lot of, I have this self-sabotage behavior of a lot of need to lose weight,
Mm,
or, um, it's in the category of they're very angry with themselves because I have no discipline. I can't eat well. I sabotage it, and, I'll eat well. And then at night I'll do this thing where I eat cookies at night, or I go to the gym and then I don't go to the gym. So some sort of sabotaging behavior that they want to eliminate.
hmm
Relationships, of course, but a
mm,
lot of physical issues. So a lot of migraines,
mm.
a lot of gut issues, a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
emotional, yeah, a lot of emotional issues. And, you know, it's wonderful when I can work with maybe a nutritionist or a holistic or integrative doctor, and then I'm working on those emotional issues to clear, so that we're working together simultaneously to work on the beliefs, and then they're getting the support with whatever supplements they need and the gut
hmm
support that they need. But yeah, self-esteem. Why am I doing this behavior? I don't feel good enough. I'm not good enough is probably the root umbrella around whether they come to me for smoking or weight, or it really doesn't matter. That's one that I see a thread through everyone.
Yeah, yeah, and my close friend who's actually a gut health doctor, gut health. He started off as a gut health surgeon, still kind of is in many ways, but he's very much a holistic gut health doctor, and he's been creating his coaching kind of people now as well, in addition to doing surgery, trying to help people who have autoimmune diseases to avoid surgery. And one of the main things he says is emotional. Like he has like an emotional kind of therapist and protocol and all this kind of stuff, that it's like he's convinced that there's a very big connection between the gut
Yeah.
and the mind as well. And I really believe that many diseases and illnesses and things of that nature, obviously, and again, the way I healed, I guess I healed myself. There was a combination, right? I obviously had to make sure that I was putting the
Mm-hmm.
right things in my body to lower inflammation in my body. But I also had to change, mentally as well. There was a lot of mental work I needed to do as
Yeah.
well. So obviously, there's kind of a combination there. But I certainly believe so many health issues are
Yeah.
related to emotional distress and
Yeah.
mental issue, mental thoughts.
Hormones for women. I obviously work with a lot of women, but hormones are a big one. And I would say I get quite a lot of wellness facilities or doctors that will contact me and ask me to work and partner with them, and because they believe the emotional work has to be done in order for the hormones to really get balanced and work together. So they're doing their share, and they really believe that the client needs to work through the beliefs that are keeping the emotions stuck, that are preventing them from moving forward and balancing their hormones. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah, yeah, I strongly believe in that. I definitely strongly believe in that. With the so you make an audio for your clients, which is very specific, I'm sure, and then they listen to that. They can listen to it anytime, but you recommend they listen to it at night. And then is it just on loop the whole night? So it's just going into your subconscious mind all night, or?
Actually, they can listen to it at any time. It's about 15-20 minutes, and they can listen
Mhm.
to it either. they can fall asleep to it. It'll still work. And so if they listen to it
Hmm.
at night before they go to bed, they're usually going to conk out. But I do tell them if they're going to fall asleep to listen to it consciously awake, at least maybe once or twice a week. But, many clients want to listen to it more than once. It feels so good that it pumps them up. It really starts to help them feel excited about life and in control, and they're feeling the changes and they feel inspired and want to make changes. So but at least once a day, and it can be before bed or in the morning. I'm a huge believer and always work with clients on creating some type of morning routine, and so
Mm.
many people don't have that. So that's something I like to implement in their morning routine if they don't have one, or if they just wake up, boom, go to the gym. I'm going to help them implement some kind of quiet time. It's just we need some kind of quiet the mind and get grounded.
Yes, yes. I'm a huge fan and advocate of quiet time. I do it
Yeah.
typically Monday through Friday when my daughters go to school. That's my quiet time, right then and there. And I keep
Yeah.
my phone. If I don't bring my phone outside, if I do, it's on airplane mode just so I can send myself an email if I have some thought or idea or something like that. But usually I try to not even bring it out at all. And yeah, the visualization, the gratitude, the appreciation, the again, kind of like I open my journal to a spot that has these positive affirmations that put me in this framework and set myself, in the right, state of mind. Literally, it says on the page of the journal that I open to every day, it says the thoughts that would serve me the most are,
Oh, I
and then I
love
just
it.
wrote down all the thoughts. Yeah, it's great.
I love it. I think what's helpful with all of this talk is to think of our subconscious mind like Netflix. When you if you turn on Netflix, it recommends movies for you or shows for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if our younger children or anybody watches it, and then all of a sudden you have like a cartoon or My Little Pony or something show up, or a movie you would never watch show up, somebody else was watching something on your Netflix. And so it's our mind is the same thing. It's going to keep on showing us the same circumstances over and over and over until we actually interrupt it and it starts showing us different movies. So it's just like that. And then we show it something different, and over and over, it'll literally just start showing us a different film outside and a mirror outside of the life we want to live.
That's a great analogy. I really love that. That is so good. Christina, where can people follow you, learn more from you, contact you?
Yeah, so my website, I'm Christina Woods, and my website is wisewoods.com. And I am mostly on Instagram, so it's at Wisewoods Hypnotherapy. And I have a free download, a hypno meditation that's great for clearing and relaxing. And I offer a free hour consultation with people if they want to talk about how this might help them.
Wow, that's an incredible offer. And where can we get that download as well? I want to get that.
Yeah, so on my website or at on Instagram, there's a link in my bio, but it's called Limitless, and it's on there, and link in my bio will shoot you right there to it.
Amazing, amazing. Highly recommend people follow you and go to wisewoods.com. Get the audio download. It's so, I mean, I think, first of all, for people who might have trouble sleeping, it could help them fall asleep and, implant positive suggestions, in their mind and help them feel better. It's a win-win all around.
It is. And I have other free things I can help with sleep, because that's a big one. We could talk a whole lot about sleep.
You know what? That is probably a huge one, and I would imagine that you could have great success with hypnotherapy on helping people get better sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed this. I love this topic. It's always fascinating to me. What is really driving people, and so thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and joining us. And hopefully, we can do it again soon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, can you please leave us a rating or review and subscribe? I've realized that while we have actually increased our downloads a lot, we're actually getting a lot of downloads, which I'm really happy about. We actually have very few ratings. And I realized that I've never asked people really to rate much. So I'm asking you now if you could please rate and review and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the episode, please forward it along to anyone that you think will get value out of this. Also, if you haven't checked out our line of products at buypeakperformance.com, you get 20% off your first order. That's www.buypeakperformance.com. We have some incredible products, including our organic high-altitude coffee. If you don't know this, coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed with pesticides out of any crop. So it's really important that you drink organic coffee. We've gone above and beyond to source what we believe is the highest quality and healthiest organic coffee in the world. We're also famous for our organic green superfood powder. You can get 20% off of that as well at buypeakperformance.com. We also have an organic, vegan, and paleo plant protein. See, most of the vegan proteins out there are using brown rice protein, which is really not a good source of protein, and it's also a grain. And if you're paleo, you know that grains tend to cause inflammation in some cases for some people. And so we wanted to make one that was paleo friendly and vegan and organic. We made an amazing amino acid profile, so it's really one of the best plant proteins for muscle building. So you can check out Peak Performance Organic Plant Protein. You can find that on our website. Of course, all our products are on Amazon as well. So thanks again. And again, please, if you enjoyed the episode, please forward it along to someone who you feel can get value out of it. And please leave us a rating, review, and subscribe. Thank you.